Hey guys, Will here. Welcome back to another battle report. This is going to be Battle 3 of the Battle of 8 Armies tournament. If you don't know what that is, then check my introduction video to it, but to be honest, this is just going to play out like a normal 1750 battle report. It's Maelstrom of War. We've already rolled for the mission, and that's going to be contact lost, so you have to claim objectives in order to draw objective cards. The two armies here, Sam's going to be using his Tau army, almost unbeaten, very powerful tournament army, and I'm going to be bringing out my Eldar. So this is the big clash between what are probably our strongest two armies, so it should be really interesting to see. The board is, again, this is on my Citadel Realm of Battle. We've got a few buildings and some woods here. We've already rolled, and Sam is going first and deploying first over on the other side there. And I've got this deployment zone here, which does feature 4 of the objectives on my side, but it's how I've got first turn, so I'm expecting a scary Tau Alpha strike here. But we shall just have to wait and see how that's going to play out. Anyway, on to deployment. Okay, so with the Tau getting to deploy first, Sam has tried to make the most of what cover there was. This board is a little bit sparse on cover, but he's got his ghost keels in the old factory at the back there. Then in the middle, his armour is somewhat exposed, but there is this giving a little bit of line of sight blocking, and his broadsides up on the hill. There's a Fire Warrior team behind that wood, and Pathfinders over there. His commander and his battlesuit team are in reserves, and then he's infiltrated the Kroot and the stealth suits pretty far forward. We both had a pain trying to deploy our infiltrators because there was so few places that we could put them where they had some cover. As for the Eldar army, I've stuck 1 unit of jet bikes out on the flank here, 1 unit in the middle here behind the Dark Reapers who are in the woods looking out over the battlefield. My main tanks, my Falcon and my Wave Serpent, are behind this, kind of squaring off against his tanks. Another squad of jet bikes with the Farseer down here behind these woods, and the second Wave Serpent on the flank here. Scorpions, I was really stuck for where to infiltrate these, knowing that near the Ghost Keels their cover save bonuses would just be worthless, so I've left them over on the flank, and they're going to have to use that cover to get where they need to go. But hopefully this should be quite a good game. Both these armies have not faced off against each other before, and have both had quite a good run of games recently, so let's see how it goes. But before I do anything, see if I can seize the initiative. Boom!
Son of a bitch.
Eldar sees the initiative. Eldar, turn 1. Okay, so an Eldar seize of the initiative there gets the game off to a flying start. My objectives were Hungry for Glory, which I drew as standard, and then I drew an extra one for my Warlord trait, Well Prepared, which got me Secure Objective 1. That was nice and easy because Objective 1 was right down here by my Farseer. So Scorpions run up the side here, and the tanks move forward, trying to gain a certain amount of cover, but you know, they are Wave Serpents for the most part, and they're pretty reliable. Jet bikes here jumped forward, only to then jump back in the assault phase, and these jet bikes here moved up into the ruins. Eldar shooting was suitably effective. Farseer cast Guide in the shooting phase, in the psychic phase, at this Falcon, giving it rerolls to hit and allowing it to take down 2 of the broadsides. The Farseer then put Psychic Shriek, 3 powers he's got here, Psychic Shriek, Executioner and Guide. Psychic Shriek at the Kroot and killed half of them, but they passed their leadership test to stick around. Then this Wave Serpent fired again at the broadsides, and unfortunately didn't manage to do anything to them, but managed to miss twice despite being twin-linked. So there is the 1 broadside left. He passed his leadership, so not got rid of that threat. But then the Wave Serpent here shot the little group of stealth suits there, and they got really unlucky. With 4 saves, he rolled 3 1s and a 2. So that wasn't good play or bad play on anyone's part. That was bad dice, and they did. Dark Reapers fired out of here into that devilfish and left it shaken and stunned and on one hull point. Squad inside also failed their leadership test, so they're not going to be able to do anything next turn. And over here, these jet bikes killed the stealth suits near that ruin. I moved them up to hold objective 3, ready to score points next turn. And this squad that had moved out before moving back took out the Pathfinders on the roof of that Manufactorum. So all in all, a really good first turn for the Eldar. I do only score one objective, which is secure objective 1, right down here by my jet pikes, and I'm actually going to discard Hungry for Glory, because I don't expect many opportunities to issue challenges in this game. So let's see what the Tau can do in response to that, as we go to Tau turn 1. Start of Tau turn 1, he drew no prisoners as his opening objective, kill a unit. For an army like this, shouldn't be a big deal. So to start with, he moved his Kroot forward and the Hammerhead moved up to take line of sight on the Scorpions, and the Ghost Kills hopped forward in front of the building. Unfortunately, he'd already lost 2 stealth teams, so he didn't have as much movement as he would have liked there. Used the Pathfinder team here to mark up the striking Scorpions, got 3 marks on them, and then used 2 to ignore their cover save, 1 to boost their ballistic skill, and then combined firepower of the Kroots, the Fire Warriors, and the Hammerhead to gain a further +1 ballistic skill, and absolutely butchered them. No Scorpions left there. I've never seen them nuked on turn 1 like that ever. That's a very solid unit gone. Other than that, the broadside, the one remaining one, put a hull point onto the Falcon, and then the Ghost Kills used Wall of Mirrors to be hitting the Wave Serpent on the rear armour, which not only gives them a much better chance of hurting it, but also bypasses the Serpent Shield, because that only takes effect on the front and side arc. Blew it up. Thankfully it was only a wreck, not an explosion, so the Dire Avengers have been able to get out and pass their leadership test to not be pinned. So that scores Sam First Blood, takes out one of my transports. Not First Blood, sorry. Scores him no prisoners, and takes out one of my transports and my assault unit. But start of the Eldar turn, we might have some reserves coming on. I've got a squad of Warp Spiders coming in on a 3-up. It's a 3. The Warp Spiders are coming in. Eldar, turn 2. Eldar, turn 2. With us holding 4 objectives, we were able to draw 4 objective cards. I got Skyborn Assault, which is an Eldar specific one. Allows me to have to kill something. I have to kill something with a skimmer or a jet bike. Should be fairly easy for this list. Secure Objective 2, which is right in the Tau backfield over there. Supremacy and Kingslayer. So, how did we go about doing this? Well, firstly, my Warp Spiders came on right next to Objective 2. They were a little bit further back from that when they came on, and they shot up the Pathfinders over there, and the Wave Serpent redeemed itself for last turn and finished off the broadside. So that's Objective 2 secured, and Skyborn Assault. Farseer moved round here, and again, Psychic shrieked at the Kroot and guided his own jet bike squad. Killed most of the Kroot, left 4 or 5 standing. These guys battle focused up, shot the Kroot, and that's a dead Kroot squad. Other than that, the Falcon was down to snap firing and achieved nothing. And this Dire Avenger squad got out of their transport and battle focused into the ruins, and shot up half the Fire Warrior team, who then passed their leadership test, so they're doing okay. Dark Reapers finished what they'd started last turn, firing at the Devilfish and popping that. Guys all got out behind it, ready to counter into the Warp Spiders next turn, if Flicker Jump doesn't go well for me. And these 2 units of jet bikes fired at the Ghost Kills and did a grand total of nothing because of the Ghost Kills great save. Really solid unit. They are very pointsy, but they are really decent. Jet bikes all then jumped back into cover, did lose 1 from dangerous terrain over there, and that squad will still need to take a leadership test because of that. They pass, so that's alright. and the warp spiders jumped onto there. So, all in all, pretty good turn for the Eldar. I've scored Skyborne Assault, Secure 2, and D3 for Supremacy, which is 2. I'm going to keep hold of Kingslayer, because I think I can do it next turn when the Tau Warlord shows himself. But for now, on to Tau, turn 2. So, Tau started their turn by drawing Secure Objective 1, which was really unfortunate for Sam. Luck really hasn't been with him this game. But Objective 1's down here next to my Farseer. He did manage to bring on his reserves, which was the commander and his battlesuit squad, and they linked up with these guys, Fire Warriors and Breachers, to completely butcher the warp spiders. I did manage to roll a 12-inch flicker jump, but it wasn't far enough to get me away from where I needed to get to. Meanwhile, the Ghost Keels opened up on the surviving Wave Serpent and blew that, so I'm out Serpents now, but I've still got the Falcon held back here. And then the Pathfinders that I left alive in that building had rallied from an earlier turn and put 2 Marker Lights into the Dire Avengers down here, which the Wave Serpent, no, Hammerhead then used to completely ignore their cover save and drop a large pie plate on them. Did manage to survive with a few thanks to the Shimmer Shield. I think I'd have lost the whole squad were it not for the Shimmer Shield. But yeah, not in a good place for those guys, but they did hold their leadership. So yeah, Tau had a little bit of a comeback there, but I think tentatively still got the upper hand here. Let's see what happens in Eldar turn 3. So, Eldar were holding another 3 objectives, so 3 more to draw. We've got, if I can focus in here, Psychological Warfare, Secure Objective 6, which I had actually lost last turn because the Dire Avengers had been forced off it by the explosion, and Hold the Line. So, how did things go about? Well, the Fire Prism... No, Falcon knew it was going to get blown up next turn by the Ghost Keels, so I scooted it into reverse and dropped the Fire Dragons out the back, moved up my jet bikes and Dire Avengers to shoot the commander as he dropped in, and scurried these Dire Avengers back onto the objective before swinging my bikes out to get line of sight on the Ghost Keel. Psychic phase, Farseer only had 4 dice to work with, but he used them to put a Psychic Shriek onto the Fire Warriors and kill 3 of them, and then failed to cast Guide on the Falcon. Shooting phase saw the Fire Dragons do exactly as they were expected to do, and completely blew up the Devilfish without breaking a sweat. That's well out of there. Then the Dire Avengers... No, the Dark Reapers and the Scatterbike units both went for the Ghost Keels, killed all the drones, put a couple of wounds on them, but the unit itself is still pretty much intact. But then the Shuriken Cannon Bikes, the Dire Avengers and the Falcon linked up to fire, or not sort of strictly linked up, but all fired at the Commander's battlesuit unit. The Dire Avengers and the jet bikes stripped away all of the battlesuits, and then the Falcon took aim with its pulse laser and one-shotted the commander. At that point, Sam has decided to concede, which is fair enough. He's got 2 reduced size infantry units and a unit of monstrous creatures left on the table, and all I've lost is 2 tanks and 2 aspect units. I've still got all my bikes up. I have to say, there was a lot of good luck on the Eldar part there. The table, to be honest, didn't suit the Tau. It didn't have enough area terrain for them to make the most of, and then stealing the initiative was a lucky break. But
it wasn't even area terrain, it was just lack of terrain. You've got a massive gap here. If this woods was here and there was another block here-ish, in this area, then that would have balanced out the board a bit. Our infiltrators would have gone better. I mean, losing all of my stealth suits on turn 1 to like 4 saves.
Yeah, so it was a combination of a bad board for the Tau and a bad table. So the Eldar do go through to round 2, which is good to see. Means I've got 1 army in round 2 at least. And to be honest, I think though we're going to need to refight this one day. You know, a better board and another Tau Eldar refight is certainly going to be good for the channel. One that's a little less one-sided. But I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. Yeah, join us again for another battle report. Right, guys, so I hope that despite that battle report being cut a little bit short in the end there, it was still interesting or enjoyable for you guys to watch. And yeah, I was very surprised with the outcome there. I had the Tau earmarked as one of the strongest armies and most likely to win in this tournament. So for the Eldar to beat them with relative ease was a genuine surprise. Like I say, the Eldar army is still a bit new to me, but it seems to be working very well. And to give Sam his dues, he didn't play badly at all. It was a simple case of a bad board that didn't suit him, and then just bad luck. Losing the initiative really hurt the Tau there and allowed the Eldar to capitalise on their speed and firepower. So yeah, with that, the Tau are out and the Eldar are through to round 2. And in round 2, they're going to be facing the winner of the Necrons versus Space Wolves game, which we should be playing in a few days' time. So keep an eye out for that to see who the Eldar are going to be facing. But for now, hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you again soon.